last name that
Cornel West.
Cornel West.
Cornell. Cornell University.
He's a smart guy, like on some Thomas Sowell.
Whoa, Thomas, bro.
Smart guy.
Thomas,
He's an idiot.
Thomas
on another level.
Thomas should have run for president.
I see Cornell more on Fox than CNN. He
Yeah,
on Fox a lot.
I've seen Cornell's face before.
Yeah, it seems like he's on Fox more than he's on CNN. Like he hops back and forth, like as a guest.
I've never really like
Is
heard
he a
his
conservative?
ideas or nothing like that.
I think he's a liberal, but Fox brings him on to like debate there. I could be wrong. I believe he's a liberal though.
Yeah, I actually
knows
did
his
see this.
politics, man.
Nah, I just standing around Brandon.
Ross, you're a political guy.
Read that.
Standing around Brandon.
Pretty political, Ross.
I said, they're talking about they love Brandon too much in the comment section. Let me get my stuff up.
Whoa.
Hey, look at that first comment. What's that say? What's that first comment say?
I'm a hater.
Read the first comment, bro.
This professor is not cool. He disagrees with.
He said, not.
This professor.
Oh, it's cool. Oh man, my dyslexia. I'm sorry. It's cool. He disagrees, but graciously engages. Very much unlike the modern day liberals. Yeah, so he's
so he's a liberal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why Fox likes him to that point. Like he don't be like,
So he's not
Black people are oppressed.
oh, kind black man.
All right, Ross.
Okay, sorry.
I also think that Candace Owens is on this club. I think they're gonna have a little. So he's a liberal. She's a conservative. Two black people, different views.
I like
Clash.
I
That's
like
it.
what they say.
And what's the title? What's the title
Candace
again?
got
Are Trump's economic policies helping African
children?
Oh, that's a big question. That's a big question.
Billionaire.
Now I wasn't really like.
Can we answer that first?
I
I'm
really wasn't. I
gonna
really,
swing a dollar on you, Taj. What do you think? Does Trump economic policies help the brother?
Well, he did get money to the HBCUs.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
He gave billions of dollars to HBCUs.
He gave a lot of
And
money.
he improved the economy. And he gave stimulus checks.
Yeah, we didn't need that
Hey,
$1,500.
we all know 3 letters that he did.
a lot of rappers was putting Trump.
P.
A lot of rappers was putting Trump in their bars.
Yeah.
I'ma drop bread in the hood. Shit, Trump did it.
He freed Kodak.
Hey, ASAP Rocky.
I remember he tweeted, it's been a rocky week. Come home ASAP.
He said, I'm a
No way, he said that.
Ooh, I'm gonna get him. Yeah, it's been a rocky week. Come on ASAP.
They gonna like this one. Send it out. Oh man. Oh no, that photo was so funny with him and Lil Wayne in the office.
Him and Kanye.
That was so funny. Alright, that is a big question though. I mean, I really wasn't in the political world when Trump was in office. Like I just
I remember when he was giving all the money to the HBCUs. That was like big.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
He gave a couple mil.
He gave a ton of money. Like, he
I
was
don't
trying to
remember
help.
that at all.
Yeah, he had like a whole thing to like grant them some money
Wow.
to like improve them.
Well, goddamn it, what's the problem?
Like, actually, the actual economy was really doing like real.
Well, I don't know too much about that. I'm not an economist.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't know anything what Trump did at all.
I know how much gas was
Guess was it?
That's
$1.
how I-
COVID did.
before that even.
Yeah, it was.
Before I knew what he really did, I was in my my culture and I was hearing some bad stuff.
Yeah, they was painted as
Going back to slavery and stuff like that, make America great again. I seen that picture just in a different way.
Yeah, me
you know
too,
what I'm
bro.
saying?
I was bodied.
But I mean, let's see
He
this
never
guy
looked at his
flash.
political views.
Yeah, I was hearing
I
what
didn't
other
think
people
for
saying.
myself,
Yeah,
bro.
I did. I
He was
was.
listening to the internet.
I let the internet control my
It was
mind,
Twitter?
bro. Yeah, bro.
Damn, bro. He be buying me too.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this. I want to see this debate.
It's not just that Donald Trump is saying and doing racist things. He's also implementing policies that are hurting and impacting negatively communities of color.
I don't think Donald Trump is doing an awful lot to appeal to African American voters.
All the policy that he's put forward has been anti-people of color.
Whoa. Why did it
Now,
stop?
we hear those lines all the time, but here are the facts. Since President Trump took office, black unemployment has hit an historic low and currently sits at about 6.7%. And by the way, he's not satisfied with that. He wants it a lot lower, but still pretty great. The number of African Americans employed is up more than 4%, and the most stunning of all, African American wages, this is my favorite, are up more than 9%. Here now, in a truly special debate. I'm so happy about this. Candace Owens, Flexit Movement founder and conservative commentator, and Cornel West, professor of philosophy at Harvard University and professor emeritus at Princeton. Dr. West, I also want to tell you, I really appreciate your coming on the show. You're you're an old style liberal. I don't mean old and old. I mean, but you like debate and conversation, and I think that's just awesome. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And I want to begin with a simple question, Dr. West. Are the president's policies, let's just focus now on his economic policies, Are they helping the African American community in your view?
Now, I think that the statistics certainly look good through a narrow lens, so I give him credit in that regard. But we have to keep in mind that on the one hand, you still have grotesque wealth inequality, you have job insecurity, so many people who are working more than one job. We know many people who have withdrawn from the labor force are not counted at all. But I think the problem is, though, my dear sister, is that the president has a language that creates an atmosphere that is so xenophobic against black folk, Mexicans, Muslims. He rarely wants to stay in contact with their humanity. So when you look at
a phobia of like people of different cultures, I believe.
Okay, my boy said xenophobic. I ain't gonna lie, he got a little flavor in him. He leaning all like the camera. It's my sister.
I ain't never heard of a white woman's sister.
He got a little more flavor than Thomas. I say that already.
He got way more.
I'm saying that was true, but with him saying having the wall looking down, was he wrong about that?
What he say?
What, you talking about Trump saying building the wall? Was he wrong about that?
That's where the fentanyl
Well, I mean, he was just trying
That's where the fentanyl coming on from.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
So, was he wrong for that?
We're having a surge of
Don't think so.
That's one thing I knew. That's the only thing I know about Trump. He was trying to build that wall.
Yeah, he was trying to crack down on immigration policy. Back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
See, that's why that all here.
though, my dear sister, is that the president has a language that creates an atmosphere that is so xenophobic against black folk, Mexicans, Muslims. He rarely wants to stay in contact with their humanity. So when you look at the statistics, that's one thing. But when you create an atmosphere and an ambience of xenophobia, it reinforces the polarization, and therefore many black folk wouldn't even be able to connect the statistics that look good with the language, the atmosphere that feels so bad. And that cold-hearted, mean-spiritedness is something that cuts very, very deep in the spirit of people.
Have you met him? Have you met him, Dr. West? Ever met the president?
No, I've never had a conversation with my right wing, but I mean, you know, I've called him a gangster and a proto-fascist in terms of separation of power. But he's a human being. He's a human being, and I can, you know.
I'm just saying this because look, you and I don't agree a lot, but I actually really like you. I think I just like the fact that you're out there and you're advocating. I have no problem with it, and I wouldn't call you mean-spirited. We disagree, but I think if you actually were with the president, you might find that you could accomplish a lot together and you could do a lot together. I really believe that. He'll work with pretty much anybody, and that's what I found in my experience. So I'm just throwing that out there, Candace. But there is this tonality issue that people seize on with the president, and they always go back to Charlottesville. They always go back to this S-hole countries. Those are the two things they really seize upon, the travel ban. Those three things probably, for some, just wipe out any other accomplishment. Your reaction?
Well, look, I think the president is doing something different. Definitely his tone is different because he tells the truth and he doesn't pander to black America. He hasn't offered us hot sauce, he's offered us jobs. That makes many people uncomfortable because they're from an era where race hustling is a business. They're used to telling black Americans that they're victims, writing books about victimhood, and that is no longer selling in America. And I just wanted to comment back on saying that xenophobia is something that black Americans are afraid of. Xenophobia means that you have a fear, Mr. West, of foreigners. Black Americans are not foreigners in this country. We are a piece of the American dream. We've earned a piece of this American dream, and we're getting tired of people telling us that we are somehow separate of it. I mean, that's really what I have to say. We're doing tremendous under this presidency. There is no candidate that is offering anything on the left to counter what Trump has offered. They're just offering more rhetoric, more fear-mongering, and unfortunately, time is up on this narrative. We are ready to move on and embrace our futures.
If I can come straight, I mean, first, xenophobia in the generic sense means the fear of other. And black folk have been othered, enslaved, Jim Crow, Jane Crow, and so forth. So if you want to, the narrow understanding is just foreigner, but it's the other. Those who have been otherized, those who have been marginalized in this sense. But think of when you call my dear sister Maxine Waters low IQ.
She does have a low IQ.
That's vicious.
That's a fact.
You said what?
That is a fact. If she took an IQ exam, you would find out that Maxine Waters had a very low IQ. And I will push that challenge. It may not be nice, but it is true.
Okay. When he called Brother Collin a son of a bitch. You see, this kind of language is ridiculous.
I have never used that language.
Not you.
No, I'm talking about the president. I'm not talking about you, my sister. I'm talking about the president. The president called Brother Collin a son of a bitch.
Okay, but what I think Yeah, I think the nasty language, it's on both sides. I mean, they call him a gangster, a traitor. I mean, so we can play that game all night long, but I do want to get this out. I want to get to this. The prevailing wisdom, I think Dr. West highlighted this, is that race relations have deteriorated almost under this president. That's the thought. That Obama was the great racial healer. Yet, in a new study by a pair of sociologists at UPenn, this is not some conservative outlet, they found that, quote, anti-black prejudice declined by a statistically insignificant degree between 2012 and 2016. But then after 2016, it took a sharp dive. There was also a general fall in anti-Hispanic prejudice, too. So, Professor West, to what do you attribute these findings? So, prejudice is on the downswing, not on the upswing, at least in these first few years of Trump.
Well, based on this particular study, I'd have to examine how they gather their evidence and so forth. But anti-Jewish attacks, anti-Muslim attacks, anti-Mexican attacks, and not just anti-black attacks, but also the police departments, the militarizing of the police departments, the withdrawal of the investigations when police do, in fact, shoot fellow citizens, whatever color they are, but disproportionately chocolate, disproportionately black and brown.
Right, that was absolutely. Under Obama, like
that's true. That's true.
So what y'all think about that?
I want to let him finish.
No, in Obama, it was a lot of people getting slaughtered by the
I mean, that's just the beginning of time.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, with the president, He can't control that. He can't control everybody moving. He did increase the prejudice, I saying it right, against Mexicans.
Who?
Obama. I don't know about Trump.
He did do that.
They just said it went down.
When Trump was in office?
That's what they just said with the statistics. They said the
does.
president anti-black took a big drop, and so did it against Mexicans.
That's crazy though.
I mean, yeah, we seen that clip where the white guy said,
he was talking about immigrants in general. He said they come from shithole countries and trying to sneak in. Basically, like Cornell said, trying to make it sound like they're like
when that white guy said that Obama made everything racial overnight.
That was exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, dang, I didn't realize.
I don't think that was like by any of his policies. I think it was just the fact that there was a black president brought up a lot of emotion in a lot of people.
I would say.
Well, he was the first president that started gay marriage, so you can't say.
How he started, he just legalized it.
Yeah,
not a crime.
And like I said, in his defense, he went into office saying he was against that, and it was, you know what I'm saying?
That's like a bad thing, really.
Yeah, I think
it's kind of got like it's kind of spiraled, kind of like that one video we watched with the dude on the LG thing.
I don't really think you can blame a president for something like that, though.
Like what?
Like certain stuff, like those statistics. I don't think you can blame a president.
Yeah, you can't control people being racist around the country.
I don't think you could.
I think that's just in a.
Do y'all think? I think you can lead. You can.
I think over time, racism kind of decreases on its own, with more interracial marriages, and just as we progress as a country, that kind of is going to happen. You know what I'm saying, on its own.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I ain't really seen more racial issues until now. I never used to see so much.
But I feel like it's just social media just showing it.
Yeah, showing it. It's pushing it so bad right now.
Because like social media come and they gonna push things more.
Yeah, social media definitely brainwashes people.
Yeah,
that's why it's not good for you.
We could look at it like 5 viral clips, but that might be the only 5 in a year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Let's finish that point.
That's true. I'm just talking about continuities.
That's
I'm talking about continuities.
Oh,
absolutely. That's true. That's true. That's true. I'm just talking about continuities. I'm talking about continuities.
Right. I do want to share this. This was a moment that I think, again, going back to what Candace has worked on and spoken about, and what Dr. West, I think you two could actually be happy about together. Happened at the White House, I think it was last month, and it was an event commemorating the First Step Act. Let's watch.
And I really thank you for signing that bill. When y'all passed this, I could have fell through the floor. I'm an example of a woman who has been given a second chance in life.
And it's an experience that I never forget.
2 months ago, I was in a prison cell, and I'm in the White House. That's continue to make America great again.
Are those the people that got freed? Yeah. Are those the people that got freed?
Dr. West, I mean, I don't think they were.
Man, go back to that dab out one more time. Hold on, let me see what Trump.
That's continue to make America great again.
Hold on, I think he hit him with the shoulder ball.
That I never forget.
2 months ago, I was in a prison cell, and I'm in the White House. That's continue to make America great again.
xenophobia or mean-spiritedness. I think they actually found a president who was willing to work with people who really didn't even like him and didn't think he was probably going to accomplish much. And it got almost no coverage. I think we played it on our show, maybe a few other places, but it didn't get any coverage. What's your reaction to seeing that?
No, I think that's a very important attempt to zero in on this vicious policy in the last 40 years of mass incarceration, punitive attitudes toward those engaged in various kinds of crimes. I've been blessed to teach in prisons for 37 years, a raw way to step program. I was just in Norfolk. It's something that has an impact on the ground, and I'd give the president credit for that. It's not as if he has nothing to offer. It's just that the dominant orientation is still tied to what I'm critical of both parties. Because identity politics for me is milquetoast, neoliberal politics that don't talk about corporate power, don't talk about poverty, don't talk about militarism. But the Republicans still strike me as so cold-hearted, mean-spirited, and they're still tied to corporate power and Wall Street and won't hit poverty head on. But when it comes to prison, when it comes to statistics, I give the president credit for that, but it's still small relative to what I'm looking for. I see it in neither both parties other than Brother Bernie Sanders, but that's another dialogue. We won't go into that right now.
That was good.
But I have to go back to this idea of race relations under Obama, which I almost fell out of my chair in the CNN story that came out in October of 2016. They got worse. 54% of Americans said they got worse. Only 16% said they got better. This was at the end of the Obama administration. So as Cornell West said, you had Ferguson, you had Freddie Gray in Baltimore, you had all this stuff bursting out on the streets of America with the first African American president in the White House, and that healing didn't seem to take place.
Right. Look, at that point, I was on the left. So when Barack Obama first went into office, I was a liberal, and I changed my mind due to exactly what you're saying. He drove this nation apart. President Trump is bringing this nation together because what he is talking about is patriotism. Patriotism knows no sex, it knows no color, it knows no creed. The liberal media can ignore all the work that he's doing in Black America all they want. Every statistic in the world shows you right now that Black support for Donald Trump has doubled, and that is meaningful. And I'm telling you that by 2020, he is going to be the first president to crack the Black vote to the detriment of the Democrats.
Hey, Professor West, I want to. Do you still do work in the prisons? Do you still do it?
Absolutely.
Can I come with you? Can I come with you on one of your?
Anytime you like. We're gonna keep track of the humanity and rich imagination and intelligence of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated to make sure they have a better chance to keep and make sure that they can unleash their potential. But I say to Sister Candace that I like her independence of mind. I think she's wrong most of the time. I fight for her right to be wrong in that regard. But I would wish that she would have moved. Absolutely, but I would have wished that you would have moved further to the left, because when you have a Black Lives Movement under a Black president, it's not going to be a matter of then moving to the right where they have been using.
Socialism has already been tried in our community. It's been tried via welfare policies, and has completely crippled the Black community. That's completely crippled the Black family via the welfare policies. You know that. So I have to creep all the way.
Socialism crippled the Black community.
Moving to the right where they have been using.
Socialism has already been tried in our community. It's been tried via welfare policies, and has completely crippled the Black community. That's completely crippled the Black family via the welfare policies. You know that. So I had to creep all the way to the right. And I have to tell you, I'm happy here.
Sharing. Socialism is not giving and becoming people dependent on programs.
Never go liberal.
Sharing.
Mr. West, I appreciate your time, but you know Black liberals go conservative, but Black conservatives never go liberal. And there's a reason for that. And I would just ask that Wall Street.
Black people are complicated. Black people are complicated. But I wish we had more Black leftists.
All right, guys, we gotta go. This is a fascinating.
What is socialism again?
That's communism. So everyone share everything. So how hard, it don't matter how hard you work, me and you gonna get paid the same.
I don't like that.
But I ain't gonna lie, the Black Panther Party used to be a socialism
But you saying it was done by welfare and stuff. It was not necessarily sharing everything.
Yeah.
But it is kind of because taxpayers are the ones paying that.
Yeah.
I think he made a great point, and I was talking to my dad about this. He made a great point where he was saying like the issue on both sides, but he was saying that like his problem with the Conservative Party is maybe like the race, like the mean spirited and things like that. Okay. And I think the problem, and I think what I've noticed is a lot of Black Americans who may identify as Democrat actually do have conservative values. It's just I think the Conservative Party gets such a bad rep by a few bad apples who may actually be racist. Because most times if there is a white racist American, most times he probably will identify as conservative. Yeah. I think that small portion size gives the large body a bad. So a lot of Blacks are like, I can't get with that. I think a lot of Blacks
they trying to pick the
my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad.
And not more so like the policies itself. They might actually agree with the policy. It's just I can't get behind. I can't get behind like how you actually look and feel. And that's why I can't blame.
It's got so bad to the point though now. It's got so bad to the point now.
Who might be identified who appears to be more openly racist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It got to the point now. Like my dad, he said I'm full conservative now. He said I'm voting for Trump, and he was a full out Democrat.
I bet if we understand now of how many black people.
Yeah, that's what's stuff.
I would say it's probably.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was liberal at first too.
I ain't gonna lie, Candace was going kind of crazy on that.
Black people actually live by conservative.
I think now people are realizing.
I ain't gonna lie. Who y'all? If we said Candace was going crazy on that.
She's extremely articulate.
Yeah,
he was going crazy too. Like he had his points.
I think he made some good points. I think he was very. He used a lot of big words and had a good rhetoric. But you know, Candace got that pop for anybody.
Like, that was the last point. That last point hit it strong.
She's very.
I haven't seen anybody switch over.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of black liberals go conservative, but I've never seen them go.
Yeah, I was.
Never.
I'm not gonna say I was liberal, but I mean, I used to just.
I had the mindset of liberal.
I was more in the middle. I've always been more in the middle, and I kind of used to think like conservatives were racist.
That's what I'm saying.
As I've grown and become more educated, I can kind of
see why. We thought that.
I can kind of
conservatives
align values over
racist. It's just like I said, most racists happen to be conservative, and that's just a bad representation. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought that, but I don't know. I just noticed that all black people were
liberal and voted for Barack and voted for the blue.
I just noticed.
So I automatically.
People.
Well, I ain't gonna lie.
I've also noticed that a lot of people like try to demonize people that have conservative values, and that was a thing that was like real big. So
it's a huge thing.
I kind of would just think like, oh, conservatives are bad, but now
with the internet.
Yeah, and then like even in my high school, like there was like a thing where they used to act like people were so wrong for being conservative. Like there was like clubs at school, the young Democrats and young conservatives.
Wow, that's crazy.
You were in the young conservatives, boy, you were catching flack.
Word.
They were like people that I was like hanging out with like friends.
Word.
Like, they were catching mad flack.
That's crazy.
I didn't think that'd be a thing.
We had that at school too.
I didn't think that'd be a thing.
They had shirts. Like people bought the shirts, and if you wore the shirts, people were like, "Oh my gosh, making a big deal out of it."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wow, like this is crazy."
I'm finna say some crazy
Last point here. What do you got to say, man?
Y'all think a lot of black people went conservative because of Barack? Not conservative. Went liberal because Barack was.
I think
there's a lot of factors that tied in.
I think they were liberal way prior.
Yeah, way prior.
Did black people vote for Obama because he was black? Is that what you saying?
No, we know that was for sure. Hey, I wanted to see my first little nigga in the office too. I would have voted too.
What? So that's kind of what you were saying.
I'm saying, but is that the reason why some people went? You know,
I mean, black people been liberal.
Way before that.
The Union was liberal.
Jesse Jackson was ran as a Democratic president.
Nah, but the Union
was not conservative.
The Union is not nothing with liberal. The Union is its own little party. It helps for jobs. It's like job labor.
Heard something
he's talking about the Civil War.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Civil War.
I
mean, like after that, I mean, you would have.
Well, the Republicans are the ones that set shit.
They shifted like the 60s though. Yeah. Like in the 1960s, that's when like the liberals started gaining like the black attention.
But I think the liberals are secretly trying to demise black people.
I think a lot of their logic that they push, I don't really agree with.
Yeah, I don't think the victim mentality helps black people.
These days, I don't really agree.
But I think Abraham Lincoln was a conservative
liberal person that I can like somewhat listen to.
Was Abraham Lincoln a conservative?
What you think you are, what you think you are gonna affect what you do, bro. So if you automatically think like, the odds are in my favor,
can you look up if Abraham Lincoln was a conservative?
Who?
He was a Republican.
I thought
he was. Abraham Lincoln is a conservative. He's a Republican.
And can you look up so the Union was a conservative?
The Union?
Yeah.
That's the North?
No, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different. Those are two different things. I think the parties started coming a little bit after when they had the what was that little voting?
But I mean, it's still beliefs though, bro.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
I really think that
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, but they freed the slaves because it wasn't good for the economy.
Yeah, it was money.
But the compromise that they made with the North, this was the North's idea to make black people 3/4 of a citizen. Yeah. That's where that came from. That's why we had to fight to get full citizenship or seen as like a full person. But that was like the compromise for freeing the slaves. It was like, look, we'll free them, but they're not on the same level as us.
Yeah, all this stuff, man. We getting there, but it's a little far.
It's deep, bro.
It's like a little ways to go, man.
We got a long way to go.
There's a lot of disagreement
to learn.
But I mean, you know.
Yeah, on both sides.
I do think since the pandemic and COVID, I think a lot more people are starting to go conservative just because of how vaccine was pushed on people. Oh damn, we can't say that.
It's alright.
You good?
Just somehow that was pushed on people.
Yeah, that did look bad.
And just, a lot of things. Like,
yeah. When I see my dad,
the stimulus checks definitely probably swayed a lot of people, and the unemployment and stuff.
Probably, man. I'm tired.
So why would you say that Trump lost the last election?
Well, a lot of people are saying that it was rigged, but it comes down to the electoral college.
I don't see how he lost. I don't see who voted for Biden, bro.
I knew something. I ain't gonna lie. I knew Trump was in trouble once I saw like traditionally red states. Like he almost lost Texas, almost lost Georgia, almost like it was. Like I was, and then when I saw that, I was like, "Dang, Trump out of
I would probably say it has something to do with like Dr. Cornel West said the rhetoric that he uses that.
And honestly, he did.
I think maybe he may have done some things, but when you go up and you say crazy stuff like that, obviously it's gonna ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, his handling of COVID was kind of bad. I think that made it look like the timing
was it really?
I don't know, man. The economy was already going down.
Bro.
It was bad. Like,
how COVID kind of blew up. I see the timing of it being like months prior to the election the timing of it was bad because, like I said, when he found out, like he knew months prior before it kind of got here, and it blew up just like crazy. Yeah. And that's what like his handling of it was bad, and I think by it being the timing of it, I think, you know what I'm saying? And there were a lot of conservatives who voted for him the first time who did not vote for him the second time.
That may have played a factor into it, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of did. I think you're right. Because Biden was doing it. He said, all y'all families that are losing, this man right here don't care. So
and I think Biden, I think in the campaign, I think Biden had a lot going for him. And then the whole George Floyd thing, that was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad.
All Biden stuff did not age well.
I've
heard so many people now.
Made a lot of.
I think there's no shot.
Harris?
I think there's literally no shot Joe Biden wins.
I don't think. What have they done though?
No, I don't know if they win again. I just think for that one, what you call it, they out strategically.
Like, do they put bread on that?
What? A spread?
Hey, I promise you, I bet Joe Biden don't win.
Yeah, I think Biden.
Trump might not win, but Joe Biden.
One of the GAs asked us that the other day. We were working on something. They was like, "So, you guys think Trump's gonna win the election?" I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
You said you think? That's what you just said. You don't think he's gonna win?
I said Joe Biden ain't finna win.
Oh, I thought you said both of them.
Yeah.
Joe Biden. You said Kamala Harris.
Oh, you said okay.
I ain't gonna lie. They might. The American people might be like, fight. We need somebody new.
I'm not anti-Trump. I know you guys gonna say,
I'm kind of impartial. I just want to see like what the guys, all the candidates have to say.
Y'all know where I'm
So I got a question. So if Trump get back in office, he can do another 2-year term. Like he can do a 4-year and do another one after that.
No, you can only do 8 total years as American president.
I thought it was only the straight 4, then you could stop and then do it again.
No, you get 8 total years.
4.
You get 2 terms. Then you're done.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty.
I thought you.
All right, y'all let us know what y'all think, man.
Oh, me,